Hello, Mark and Shiv. Welcome to Roundtable Ops in Motion, Episode 1. Today we have Mark Palmer, a veteran consultant to associations, and we would be deep diving into how data operations and marketing operations should work in associations. Hey, Mark, can you please introduce yourself?
Sure, Kawal. It's nice to see you and Shiv again. Always nice.
Hey,
Thank you.
hey, Mark.
My firm is Access Marketing and Events. Our firm specializes in generating sustainable sources of revenue for non-dues related industry, professional, and trade association clients. In terms of myself, I love my role as managing partner. It allows me to be entrepreneurial with my clients at a high level strategically, as well as that boots on the ground position of getting things done on a daily basis. And I have to say, it's been very rewarding for me to see us succeed alongside our client partners over the years.
Excellent, Mark. Thank you. And of course, nice meeting you again. An important question for you, Mark. You've been serving the association industry globally for a very long time, and I'm sure you've had a chance to work with some of the great associations. So, what do you think are some of the challenges associations are facing today? Uh, and any additional details that you would want to provide, especially with terms of marketing?
Sure. That's a loaded question, Shiv, but two things come to mind to answer that question. First is there's been a real challenge for associations across diverse landscapes that are changing consistently for our association leaders today. And for marketing operations teams, I
Mhm.
think it's been a good challenge to always present that clear voice of the association to maintain their relevancy with their existing and emerging stakeholders. We're finding that also it comes down to the basics of listening, really listening intently, or said similarly, listening with intent. And what I mean by that is it's really diving in with the client's industry partners, understanding what is important to them strategically at a very fundamental level, what are their objectives, and where do those objectives and initiatives intersect with the work
Mhm.
that your association is doing. And then you say, great, let's expand on that. Or let's work together to co-create something in that area of intersection, and then you take two ideas and make it even greater.
Wonderful. It's the relevancy that's pretty pertaining to any industry, and especially with the associations today.
Yes, it's also, causing us to create new opportunities in terms of new channels, new programs, new assets. And those things, I think, continually drive the growth and the opportunity for associations.
Absolutely. Mhm.
Shiv, I'd like to ask you a similar question or the same question. You've worked with a few associations, and what have your observations been?
That's a good question, Mark. Well, I've been lucky enough to work with some associations and some associations along with you. Uh, Associations kind of tend to carry out the marketing efforts that they have been doing for the very long time, uh, which works amazingly well for them, right? And as they say, you got to do what's working for you. However, at the same time, I'm a firm believer it's always good to add on the new technologies or add on to new services or a new propaganda that would eventually help you to grow. And when it comes to marketing and sales, it's the basic that remains the same, right? One thing I would definitely would want associations to really work on is getting their CRM database absolutely up to date. Uh, Unfortunately, that's not been the case with few of them for many obvious reasons, right? I mean, it's more of catching to do with the new age technologies, how you want to maintain the CRM database. I was listening this from someone very recently, Mark, and they said CRM is just not about maintaining customer relationship today, right? It's about how do you understand your CRM database, how do you predict your CRM database, and eventually how do you adapt to it, right? I think that's need of the hour when you're able to adapt to your CRM database which eventually helps you to expand the horizon that you would essentially want to go after and help you to grow your business. So that's definitely part of the thing that I've been seeing with associations. And whenever we talk to them, this is definitely one subject that we wish to talk about.
Wonderful. So in that same vein, I have a question for you, Shiv, about data hygiene. First off, how important is data hygiene in terms of maintenance? And how is weak data hindering even the best run associations?
Well, as they say, Mark, few things just do not change. And one of the fundamentals for any organization to grow is your CRM database, right? So that's the one place wherein you maintain the database of your existing customers and your potential customers, or I sometimes call them, future customers. Now, if you do not maintain your database in a way that would eventually help you to execute the marketing programs or the sales programs or the customer service relationship program that you have, uh, everything kind of boils down to the company's bottom line. It affects the revenue of your organization. So it's very fundamental for associations to maintain the CRM database absolutely clean and hygienic. Many of them still struggle to maintain the database the way it should be. That's again got to the kind of practices that they've been following for the very long time. And that's where people like you and us kind of come into picture, educate them the importance of having a very clean and up-to-date CRM database, which would eventually help them to get them where they want to be, right? And for that to happen, a clean database is absolutely mandatory, and you cannot afford to have a weak database. So that's been the observation. And particularly the same data question or the topic that we have been discussing, Mark, I think you have been one of the big proponents of CRM database, right? So please help us understand, what do you mean by TAM or ICP, and how important it is for an association to get the that is TAM or ICP absolutely correct, which eventually will help them to go to the next level with the activities that they want to.
Sure, I'll break that out into two parts of the question. First is talking about ICP and
Mhm.
TAM, and then I'll talk about why it's important and how to put it into practice. So, first and foremost, the ICP is known as Ideal Customer Profile. It's really similar to that old school methodology of ranking your prospects, ranking your customers. Some people even focused on and still use methodologies like RFM, recency, frequency, and monetary, to rank their customers and to rank their prospects. Once you start to hone in on your ICP, then the total addressable market, that becomes an idea or a way of measuring your ICP across industries, across regions, or across geographies. And it's really starting to be able to size the market. You can be able to start to forecast your sales, your market penetration, your market share, and all kinds of basic planning and
Mhm.
blocking of your company and your strategies can rely on that TAM or the total addressable market that is founded in finding out and learning more about what your real ICP is.
Right.
So, so then let's talk about how do we make this effective, right?
Mhm.
So the number one piece of advice I would give is making sure that you truly understand your ICP and spending
Mhm.
time with it. This isn't something that you get a brainstorm together, you come out an hour later and everyone understands their ICP. This takes time. You have to
Right.
understand that. You understand that it's constantly evolving. And as well, because it feeds total addressable markets,
Mhm.
that too is evolving. So understanding that ICP and TAM is constantly and continuously evolving. Number two, spending adequate time with your ICP algorithm. Like I
Right.
said, this isn't something that you do in a vacuum. It's not something that you do on the back of a napkin. It's something that you develop over time. It's a recipe for success. So you want to constantly enrich it, test it, change it, iterate it, and get it to the point where you really feel as though you have a good handle on that. But realize that you have to continuously challenge that. There's one other thing that you need to challenge, and that's your status quo thinking. The things that got you to where they are today aren't going to get you to where you're going to tomorrow. That can also be said about some of your customers, especially your emerging markets. So you need to develop an ICP algorithm that you can revisit on a regular basis and consistent basis.
Mhm.
Okay. The other thing that happens when we see this status quo thinking is this inertia. Everyone's familiar
Right.
with it. Maybe they can't put their finger on it. Maybe people see symptoms of inertia by saying, we hear the same thing over and over when we ask, why do you do that? It's because we've always done it that way. That's a mere symptom of something that we call that inertia. So whenever you feel that inertia, I would challenge folks to dive in there and try to find a way to disrupt that. There are
Mhm.
different ways of disrupting that inertia that can actually be beneficial. It's not always detrimental. That type of thinking and that challenging can breed really good new ideas. And then lastly, number 4, maintain a closed loop system for your TAM and your ICP models. So that intelligence is constantly being fed into your algorithms and changing it.
Mhm.
Sometimes it's in the form of AI, sometimes it's in the form of human intelligence as well. So that's actually going to bring me to something I want to talk about a little bit later in terms of artificial intelligence. But yes, I would say that when you maintain really good closed loop systems for your TAM and your ICP models, they'll always render excellent results.
Right.
Yeah.
Kawal,
Yeah.
if I may, I'd like to ask you a question about how you see the changing role in marketing operations in industry, trade, and professional associations.
Sure. So first of all, thank you, Mark and Shiv, the brief or the understanding that you gave about the TAM and ICP, and I can see how data operation is so well connected with marketing operations. And yeah, of course, the role of marketing, or we also call as MOPS in association, has undergone a big shift. It has driven by digital transformation. So marketing operations is now becoming the strategic engine powering modern association marketing. So MOPS has moved from support function to becoming a strategic growth enabler. And marketing operation is no longer just the team behind, sending email blast or doing database cleanup. They are becoming a central hub for data-driven decision making, audience engagement strategies, and tech stack optimization. And in this process, we have seen, or I have rather seen, 5 key changes that happens. The first one is data-led audience engagement. So mob teams are helping association turning data into action. So that way they are segmenting audiences more effectively. They are targeting niche segment based on industries, revenue, etc. They are personalizing outreach. So they are sending personalized emails or running personalized ads, and then tracking the engagement across the lead lifecycle. And the second one is use of automation and AI adoption. So there's a growing demand for scalable marketing. MOPS is now leading the charge in adopting automation and using the AI to manage their campaigns, to reduce the manual efforts that was there in the past, and predict what would be the next step to keep all the processes aligned within the organization. And they're also creating more of automation alerts that helps you keep things in track, and you see if things are going or derailing from the processes, and that has to be done. So they are taking care of that. The third one is MOPS is taking charge of strategies. So associations are seen investing more in sophisticated CRMs like HubSpot, Salesforce, and marketing platforms like Marketo, Pardot, and analytical tools like Tableau to get better understanding of their marketing and sales. So now marketing operations is owning and optimizing these tools instead of just using them. So that's the shift we are seeing. And the fourth one is the MOPS is able to provide the ROI and performance transparency. So the board and the leadership wants to always know like what's working and how it's working. So MOPS is becoming the key in building those dashboards, defining the KPIs, and showing the value of marketing in concrete terms. And this is really helpful for the leadership because it's so useful for them to see the visibility reports and the visibility into these systems. So they are able to provide that visibility into marketing and sales processes, which is very much aligned with the business goal. And the fifth one is MOPS is helping in cross-functional alignment. So marketing operations is the bridge between different departments and associations. So they are connecting the marketing, the membership, they are educating teams and events with consistent data, workflows, and tools. So this help in aligning the team and the processes together within the organization. So in short, I would say marketing operation in association is shifting from executional to transformational. It's becoming the operational brain behind the smarter, more sustainable audience growth. So this has been my observation while working with different organizations. So Mark, what are some of the challenges within the association with regards to use of technology within marketing?
I'd have to say, Kawal, I'd have to say piling on technology without a roadmap.
Okay.
We're seeing a lot of technology stacks out there that are not fully understood. This is creating silos of data, and it also leads to decentralized dashboards that that can't be optimized for prescriptive data execution strategies. How about your opinion, Kawal, on specific data analytics? How important is data analysis within marketing these days?
Okay, that's a great question and a crucial distinction, I would say. Within marketing operation, data analysis isn't just important. I think today it's fundamental because the data analysis turn operations into task-based support to strategic growth engine. And there are five key data analysis I feel is really important for marketing operation success. The first one would be driving measurement and accountability. So marketing operation is responsible for defining, tracking, reporting on KPIs that actually matters, like pipeline contribution, then you have campaign performance, then you have channel ROI. Without strong data analysis, marketing would stay a cost center. So with it, MOPS is able to prove that or improve the value of the marketing that they are doing today. They're able to optimize processes and align things together. The second point would be data analysis is able to empower strategic plans. So marketing operation can actually take guidance from the data analysis for budget allocation, for resource planning, for campaign prioritization, for lead scoring, and routing logic. So I would say in short, it's like better data analysis would be better decisions. And the third change or the key point would be data enable continuous optimization. So data isn't just, giving us the information about the past, what has happened. We are also able to take some strategic action. We are also able to understand like what's going to happen in future if we follow the same strategy. If we are going the same route, what is going to happen in the future. So that also is very helpful. So MOPS uses these data analysis to test, to iterate and refine everything, starting from email workflows to the attribution models. And analysis is also, it's help in connecting the dot across systems. So marketing operations sits at the center of the MarTech stack. That's the CRM and the marketing automation platforms. And there are other tools as well in the process. So data analysis ensure that these tools talk to each other or they are aligned together so that we get support unified reporting, which is really important because if one process or tools breaks, then the whole process is broken and we cannot see that journey of the customer or the lead across the pipeline, right? So which is not good. And then the fifth one is MOPS, data analysis help MOPS to become a strategic function. So MOPS now with the data analysis own the entire story. So that way it's able to give leadership what leadership is looking for. So that way MOPS is able to earn a seat with the leadership and at the same time provide the shift from educational to strategic advisor. And in short, I would say data analysis is the fuel that powers modern marketing operation. It turns MOPS from an operational executor to a strategic powerhouse. And in this process, it turns dashboard into decision. So from the dashboard, you understand what's happening at this part of the tool or this part of the team or this part of the process. So you're able to take some decision on that. And then operations are like the outcome. The operations that you do would becomes the outcome. So yeah, data analysis is like very, very important within marketing.
Well said.
Well, it's so nice, Mark, isn't it? Niche jobs today are getting seat on the leadership table, right?
Yeah.
Marketing operations being one of them. And I'm so glad companies and associations are understanding the importance of this niche job roles and the value they bring onto the table. With that, Mark, I had a couple of questions for you. One thing that you said kind of stuck to my mind, right? And it's so basic. You said ICP is very ever evolving process, right? And when you cannot say, you know what, I built an ICP and I'm done. And I kind of remember you stressed on it at least 2 or 3 times, saying that how important it is to understand that ICP keeps evolving. So can you please help us understand more as to why does it keep evolving and why you should keep investing time on rebuilding ICP? That's one. And also, we just wanted to understand what exactly is your firm, that is Access Marketing Events, is doing for associations today? What value you bring onto the table for them?
Okay. So the importance of investing in your ICP and constantly evolving that ICP, I can think of a good example. So there was an industry that we call it the green industry, call it renewable energy. It has a lot of different names, but as that was an emerging role within a corporation, we started to see human resource folks developing roles for people with new titles, new job descriptions that had not existed before, right? So,
Mm,
chief of sustainability or director of sustainability. If somebody with a sustainability title or persona is in your ICP, okay, they're not
right.
they're not new necessarily, but they're relatively new in terms of the last time you may have gone out and refreshed your ICP. So it's
Mm,
important to say or to stay in touch with your clients' industries. Look at the emerging trends, look at the emerging leaders, look at where people are coming from. Okay, we're seeing a big M&A environment now in some of the association or
right.
some of the industries out there, specifically the ones that we're working on right now. So we have to really be aware of who is the emerging partner or stakeholder that's going to come into our community. Is it the investment community, right? So right now it's private industry. It may become public industry. It may become very disrupted, but it's
Right.
our job to look for those trends and welcome those folks into the industry association with open arms and find ways to help them reach their goals. So if we're not listening to our ICP and we're not listening to the trends within our clients, we could
Mhm.
likely miss a refresh, an important refresh on our ICP.
Right.
Yeah.
Good
So
point.
the second part of my question, or the second answer, part of my answer, ties into this question. Actually, I'll say this: when you said, "What are you guys doing these days? Where do you find yourselves?" Truthfully, we really find ourselves doing one thing predominantly, and that's listening. And I
Hmm.
started off the conversation about the importance of listening. And this is a great example. We do spend a lot of time listening to our association executives and leaders to hear what it is that's keeping them up at night. Really
Right.
trying to understand what it is, because those are the bellwethers for, and those are the signals to us that say, what can we do? Or what, there is something that we can do. We have to discover what that is. We have to design it. We have to implement it. But it allows us to do that. Similarly, when we're listening to our clients or our association executive leaders, we're listening for things that will inform our ICP, that will
Hmm.
inform our total addressable market. There may be a shift in maybe trade relations that are changing, and they need to pivot to a different region in the world, a different corner of the world where they are at right now. And the way that they knew their industry last year is not necessarily the same way they know their industry this year.
Yeah.
So we
One
rely heavily on that listening with intent to derive those objectives.
Wonderful. Well, that's pretty deep, Mark. I mean, as they say, it all boils down to the basics, right? And what you and your team at Access Marketing Events have stuck to is the basics. And as long as you do the basics and you're listening to your customers and delivering what it takes them to get the services that would eventually help them to achieve whatever they want to achieve, it's a win-win for everybody. I think it was a great conversation, Mark and Kawal. Thanks to you, Mark. I think we had an understanding about associations. We had a good understanding about why CRM database is important, what is ICP, what is total addressable market, and how it eventually helps you to grow your business. And thanks to Kawal, I think we had a good understanding about marketing operations, why it is important within association. And also good to know that niche job titles like marketing operations are getting, a seat at the leadership table, which they totally deserve, because they are the one who kind of doing all the back end job and helping leadership take the right decisions, which would eventually help them to grow their revenue, right? And that's what everybody is for. Thank you again, Mark. Thank you, Kawal. It was nice talking to you, and look forward to chatting with you again.
You too,
Thank you.
Shiv. Nice to see
Thanks,
you,
Shiv.
Kawal.
Thanks, Mark.
Bye
See
bye.
you. Bye.
Bye bye.